What's going on, beat people? This is Karthik, Bboy Silkroads, coming at you with a simple breaking game. So whether you're a beginner and hasn't touched the floor in many years, or you can really rock it at IBE, or anywhere between that spectrum, the goal is to give you a couple practical takeaways. So the concept for this game is I'm stuck, and you're going to have a hand or a foot that's attached to the floor, and even though it's constrained, gonna find ways to move around it. So let's get straight to the first and most important variation. So starting off with the first and the most fundamental variation, your feet are pinned to the floor, and position 0, Bboy squat or full squat. Either form is okay for this exercise. Walking all the way forward with your hands, walking over to the side, and just exploring what kinds of directions you can go. Walking over to the back and the side. And over to the back, this is more of a crab position in footwork, where your feet are in front of your hands, circling all the way around and just getting used to putting more weight on your hands. It's a really good way of working on weight transfer. Spinning to the side. Yep. So the same concept where your feet are glued to the floor, except from the side view this time. And this time I really wanted to emphasize being cognizant of how far your arms are from your feet. And the farther your hands get away from your feet, the stronger your core and your arms are going to have to be to support that weight. So for kids learning how to move, and for adults getting reacquainted with moving on the floor, this is just a nice, simple, basic, foundational exercise in exploring the way that you can move in all directions. So now just applying that feet glued to the floor concept to around, running my hands there, leaning onto a stab, my elbow into my torso. And the reason I really like this concept is that it just removes one of the variables, which is your feet, arguably the most important variable. Without that, how can you move? Threading my arm there, and going into a figure 4, balance a little there, standing up, twisting, standing in a different pose, finding different directions. Not super difficult things to do, but essentially your own personal research into how you can move. Check it out. Of course, you could just stand and rock. So now the hands are glued to the floor, and going straight into some bicycle kicks. Be a negative demonstration of the hips just bobbing all over the place. There's no reason to keep it under control. Movement like that, so taking it easy one step at a time. Crossing over from side to side. Increasing amplitude, so for all of these steps you can always play around with the size from small to big. It's easy from the back, form-wise, just keeping your knees tight. Repeats and kicks. Dropping down to an elbow. So just giving you ideas from this back of footwork, position 3, Bboy plank, kind of push-up position. There's still a lot you can do. And coming up onto the inner knuckles, great for efficiency and speed of footwork. Swings, reverse swings. So taking this hands glued to the floor concept to a freestyle round with shuffles going to the front, bicycle kicks, shuffles going back, and just playing around with various steps. As this is also a great way to warm up for a breaking session, no matter how advanced you are, simply because the research seems to show that wrist injuries are one of the most, if not the most, common injuries because of breaking. So take care of them, wrists. And here we are, the concept that inspired this I'm Stuck game, and that foot to the ground and figuring out how to move per usual. So this was popularized by Bboy Storm, Battle Squad Germany, in the way that you can create various pretzel or infinity looking patterns based on the way that your foot traces the floor. Highly recommend checking out his footwork fundamentals and seeing what you can create with this concept. Here the world's your oyster. Pick any number of points, glue them to the floor, here it's opposite hand and leg. Some of these may be more difficult than others, but try them regardless. There my palm's coming up off the floor, but as long as the fingers stay attached. Aim low, slide it around. Spider. Twirls. Gotta get inventive. Potty waves. Final one here with the hand glued. Reverse spider. Spider. Walking around like a 12-step or a baby load. Here my right arm is just kind of suspended in the air. It tells me that I could have experimented more with hand styles. Dead leg. Bumping into myself, but that's okay. Finally using the hand a little more. Thread. That's all she wrote. At its core, this concept is really about putting you in various positions and forcing you to grow out of it. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to learn a 6-step on your first day. First and third step is on once. But just spend a lot of time in position 0, position 3, and the 6th step is going to become second nature. And the concept doesn't end there. You can attach your head to the floor, or attach your shoulder, elbow, your knee, your butt, just kind of spin around on the floor. At a certain point doesn't really look like traditional breaking, but that's okay. After all, breaking is under the umbrella of movement, where you have dance, martial arts, sports, and many more things besides that. And the more of a beginner you can be in all of these various arts, the more you're going to realize how connected they are. It's going to improve your ability to learn. So, as always, learn the concept, abide by the concept to the T, and then forget it altogether. This is Silk signing out. Peace.